Today we're going to talk about Luma AI Dream Machine and how to integrate that into N8N so you guys can create videos that are pretty top notch. So let's get into it. So with any platform that I like to use within N8N, I want to make sure that it has an API available. If it doesn't have a custom connector already within N8N, then we need an API so that we can interact with that service. And obviously that's going to be done using an HTTP request. But again, I was evaluating Luma AI Dream Machine so that we can do some really better quality video creation. And I found that they do have a fairly good API. And also they have the ability to insert your API request so that when the video is completed, that webhook will be called, and then I will get the information about the video URL as well as the thumbnail URL. So here we have a fairly simple workflow, and I also have a part 2 of this where, again, once the video is created and the Luma AI Dream Machine service will call back to my webhook and then show me the video and thumbnail URLs for that created video. All right, so I want to put together a fairly simple example. I do have a more robust version of this where I am actually creating videos from the blog posts that we generated in the previous workflow that I just did, which was a content generator version 5. But this version I want to be able to share with everyone and show you how to use the Luma AI Dream Machine API to create videos. Okay, so here we go. Fairly simple, and as you know, the way I like to structure my workflows is, first and foremost, you put a global settings node at the very beginning. And if we jump into the global settings, you guys will see here, I've put some parameters for the video creation, the aspect ratio. I just put a sample video prompt here. We will not be looping this. Actually, let's change that. Let's do loop this one. Duration, currently it looks like the API will only handle a 5-second video. They do offer a 10-second video on the web interface, but for now, from what I've been seeing with the API tests, only 5 seconds are available with the API. So the other thing I'm doing here is the cluster ID. I'm doing this because, as I just mentioned, the other version I've been working on is I'm creating a set of videos based on the blog content. And so I need to be able to identify that cluster of videos so that I can stitch them together for, other purposes. So not necessarily for this simpler workflow, but for future, you do want some sort of a cluster ID if you're going to create multiple videos for a single piece of content. The Airtable base and the Airtable table that we're using, which is called generated videos, I'm inserting the IDs here so that when I go into this last node to update the Airtable, I'm not using the names of those versus IDs, and I'll explain to you why I'm doing that once we get to that node. So you can see here from Luma, they provide 15 different camera motions. And so what I'm doing is I've listed them out and I'm just randomizing that as I'm creating the videos. So you can see we've got the settings, we've got the random camera motion, and then this is really where the video is created. I'm making that HTTP request to the Luma AI API endpoint. I've got my auth, the header auth. And then the body, I'm using JSON as I usually do because that's just a lot easier. And for me, it's, you don't have to deal with individual fields that way. So here we go. We've got model, which is RAID 2. They do have 1.6, but I think you'll want to be using their latest, which is RAID 2. We've got the prompt that's being pulled in from the global settings. We have the aspect ratio, the duration, the loop setting, and then the callback URL, which I will show you guys once I'm done with that part of it. Okay, so we make the call, and then I have started to, as a best practice, put in execution node data nodes so that I can capture that information as things are getting processed. And then here what we're doing is once this video request has been sent, I'm going to upload some information about that video that's generated, especially the generation ID, because I need that for some future actions on that video request. So I'm capturing that. And as you guys can see here, I'm setting the Airtable base as well as the table from the global settings node, right? So I'm capturing the generation ID as well as some additional information about that video request. So that's just for, again, future purpose. You guys will see later on. So, all right, so we've pushed this through, and then what I'm going to show you is what the webhook portion will do, and then ultimately the actual result of that request. As we're waiting for our video to be completed on the Luma AI side, I want to show you guys what the actual prompt is. You can see here that we have a crocheted parrot and a crocheted pirate outfit and so on. Everything is crocheted, as you guys can see. I just want to show you so that as you're going to see the final output, you'll see what that will look like. And then the other piece of this is our content manager. This is for our iHeart Pets. And again, in my previous videos, I do show you guys this, as well as how to access this and make a copy of this for yourself, because this sort of Airtable base drives a lot of our interactions for content generation. So this last piece here is the request I made. This is the video URL as well as the thumbnail URL. And so I want to show you, because when you make the first request, these URLs are not going to be available. So how does that get entered in? I'm going to show you that here. So this last piece here, as I just showed you, we are capturing the generation ID on the Luma AI side, and that will be sort of our identifier, okay? And so if we go out, I need to access this. If I go out, I want to save that, I don't know why. Okay, so if I go out, and that is not the one. Okay, so let's look at the webhook response, right? So we've got our webhook, which you saw the URL. And so anytime that a video is completed or some sort of action occurs on that video, Luma Labs will hit this webhook and give me some information. And that is all driven from, the generation ID, right? So what we're also doing now here in this next node is that as that data comes in, I'm just going to capture everything. And then I'm also setting the Luma video and thumbnail URLs from the JSON that's being sent back from Luma AI. And the Gen ID is also going to match the previous Gen ID in the Airtable base. And you'll see why I'm using that. Okay, so we've got the webhook that's being sent, and then I'm going to create an if statement because it is sending multiple webhook posts, and one to just confirm that a request was received by Luma AI, but the confirmation or the completed video webhook call is not going to occur until later. And so I'm doing a check to make sure that the URL portion of that JSON is not empty before it actually hits the Airtable and uploads that URL, right? And so that's what's happening is I get a webhook call from Luma AI. I capture that data, do a check to make sure that the video URL is there. And if it is there, then this is the same Airtable information as you saw in the other workflow. So we're just mapping it together there. And then here I'm uploading the video URL as well as the thumbnail URL. And so you can see here, I'm not adding any other information but those two URLs, and I'm matching the Airtable row by that generation ID. And that's watch that and use that as the identifying piece of information. And so that's it. This workflow is constantly on and just listening for that call. And as videos are created, we'll go in and get that information into the Airtable base. And what does this video look like? Let's take a quick look at this. Here we go. This was a video that was created by Luma AI Dream Machine. You can see here it's 5 seconds. It's a parrot hanging. Everything is in a crocheted world, but this was a great test to see the quality as well as the overall process of creating a video using Luma AI Dream Machine. All right. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to be posting this onto the N8N workflows section of their website, as well as putting it into our Right on Target AI community, which I will put a link to in the description as well. All right. Thanks for watching this far. See you next time.